everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 28th meeting of the Dartmouth School Committee. Why don't we stand and start with a Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Per the Commonwealth's Act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, the public will not be allowed to physically access the school committee meeting. Members of the public can access the meeting via live stream at www.youtube.com/DHSTVmedia. In addition, the event will be rebroadcast on DCTV channels 9 and 18 on the following days: Wednesday and Thursday at 5 p.m., Friday at 6 a.m., Saturday at 8 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. The school committee reserves the right to implement additional remote participation procedures and will notify the public of these procedures as soon as practicable. Ms. Genthner, can we have a roll call, please?
Shannon Jenkins.
Here.
Mary Waite.
Here.
Kathleen Amaral.
Here.
John Nunes.
Yep.
Chris Oliver.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. So the first item on our agenda for the evening is public comment. Comments are welcome during the public comment segment. Please forward any comments to our recording secretary, Ms. Genthner, at kathleengenthner@dartmouthschools.org. Ms. Genthner, I know you forwarded an email to us earlier today that you had received for a meeting. Have we received any other emails or public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will come back around to public comment at the end of the meeting. Remind me if I forget everyone, that's likely. So if anyone wants to comment on anything that's on our agenda, please feel free to email Ms. Genthner during the meeting.
Madam
Next,
Chair?
go ahead, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you. Just a quick question. In regards to the public comment, at what point, and I am not up to date in the latest guidance from DESE or the state, at what point are we going to open the meetings back up? I'm just curious where we're at with that.
We can have a conversation about that. We
Perfect.
haven't yet, but we can maybe do that under new business and talk about that at that point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I will turn it over to Dr. Gifford next.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to invite Chris Michaud to sit here and join us for tonight. I don't want to be too loud. As you know, he's the Director of Public Health here in Dartmouth, and we thought it'd be nice to have him come not only to wrap up the year for us and give us some thoughts about how things went, but then also offer our thanks to him as well. So, thanks for coming, and thanks for coming. And if anybody has questions about things or whatever, please feel free.
Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Nunes?
No, I was just going to say, why don't we let Chris kind of give an overview and then we can chime in.
Sure.
If I may?
Yes, you may. Go right ahead. We're maybe putting you on the spot, but
Yeah.
go right ahead. I'm sure you're used to it after this year.
No kidding.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the school committee, Dr. Gifford, Mr. Kiley. It's been an interesting year and a half. I think back to last summer as we were planning out, the re-entry of schooling. And this was while it was a pandemic and it was a very stressful time for all of us. I try to focus on the positive and not in terms of transmission. This was a wonderful opportunity. I've worked for the town now going well into my 25th year, and I had the opportunity to work with some tremendous professionals that really illuminated how dedicated they are to protecting the public, the students, the staff. So, I can't thank the committee enough for working with the health department through the staff of Dr. Gifford, Mr. Kiley, the principals, the school nurses, through planning and going through the school year. We oftentimes had to have late night calls, holiday calls, with principals, Mr. Kiley, Dr. Gifford. It was a stressful time. Unfortunately, there were people that were delivered a lot of bad news about having to, quarantine, which was a stress on them. It was very hard on them. Staff took a lot of stress from that. Then we entered the vaccine phase of this, and again, I was really taken aback by the outpouring of support from Dartmouth Public Schools through the use of the facility to vaccinate the public at large, and also by the staff that stepped up and gave up their Saturdays and worked at these clinics to help vaccinate the public. It was something that I haven't seen in my lifetime. I've done a lot of reading of the town records in response to another obligation of the health department, and aside from World War II, I have not seen any records since 1900 that even came close to this. So it was a very rewarding experience. My two concerns right now are, one, this has been hard on a lot of people. There have been a lot of people that have been running the whole school year, or in a public health department, or maybe first responders, or even in the medical field. And I've heard oftentimes people have said, I feel like my only job is COVID. And now it all comes to an end. And it can leave a period of, confusion. That stress starts to set in. So just be aware of everyone. Don't be afraid to talk about stress, because it's real, it happens. I've seen it in my workforce throughout the Commonwealth with people retiring early, leaving. One of the most esteemed professionals in public health in Massachusetts abruptly resigned, and that took a lot of us by shock. I worry about school personnel, public and private. You've been through war, and you didn't have that traditional wind down to the school year. You were pushing 100 miles an hour all the way to the end. Especially with a lot of the mandates that came out, and Dartmouth was ahead of that. You did it very safely, bringing the kids back to school before the governor's mandate. So just be aware of that, and this goes for all school settings, for the staff. The last thing is, we're looking at a school year coming ahead, just in a couple months, just about 60 days. And this is still a frontier, as I like to call it. We've got a virus that's only about, maybe 19 months known. We've got a vaccine that's about 7 months with an EUA. I read a quote this weekend, and I said, that's about the one quote I'll repeat. It's easy to let the cat out of the bag than it is to put it back in. And I always said during all of this, it's easier to be cautious and to let out slack than to realize I've got myself into a mess. So I know that Dartmouth Public Schools, you did a stellar job keeping the kids, keeping the public safe. You may have to make some decisions about, your school year that might be a little more stringent, or you may decide to have some protocols, and, we've always talked about those, and we've always been in agreement with taking a higher road, but also, sometimes having to take the courageous road too while implementing those. So we're going to wait and see what the summer holds. Transmission has been very low the last couple weeks. I think we had 1 case the week before and 0 cases last week.
Wow, that's great.
Great.
So we'll see what the fall holds. And, with the vaccine on the market now, we just hope to see that the vaccine continues to expand for the younger age groups.
All right, well, now that you said that, we really invited you here to recognize you for, you talk about our good work. We could not have done it without you, and of course, the rest of the folks that you work with. But we have a little something for you. We thought you should get Dartmouth Man of the Year. So we have a little award presented to Dartmouth Public Schools, presented to Chris Michaud in recognition of exemplary service, collaboration, and patience during the 2021 pandemic. So we'd like to give this to you.
Thank you.
We knew no matter what, like we said, time of the night or whatever, the number of meetings you attended, we depended on your expertise, and I know our entire staff. And when we had questions from parents, I could always point to you, so.
It was huge.
Well,
So,
you know,
we
thank
thank
you.
you.
But I must say, it wasn't possible without all of you, the staff, in my department that made it possible. Maura Reimer, the public health nurse, Donna Farias. It was real, Victoria Cameron. I was just there to take the punches,
Yep.
when the public was angry. But it wouldn't have been possible without all of you, so.
It's a team
thank you.
effort. You're welcome. Thank you very
thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to my committee for comments. Mr. Oliver?
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. To put it bluntly, the Dartmouth Public Schools I think we did tremendous, but a lot of what we did was based on your guidance and your department's guidance and your recommendations. So I think it's safe to say that a lot of what we've done couldn't have been done without your expertise and the guidance from your department. So I just have one thing to say. I really hope that you get an opportunity to take a vacation this summer.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chris. You were always there. Anytime that I had a question, I know I could always reach out to you. You're always there to pick up your phone. People from your office. I have several residents in town let me know how pleased they were with the way you handled yourself and the way that your department handled themselves, making phone calls, delivering that bad news. So just simple thank you at this point for everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Nunes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Chris, thank you very much for everything. I go back to last summer when we were getting ready to open the schools and we did tours of the middle school and walked down to the Quinn School and everything with you and your nurse type of deal, and you walked through and, pointed out a few things, and, the nurse came up with a few suggestions that, administration hadn't thought about type of things. Yeah, okay, that will work and such. I know, again, like Chris, I called you a couple of times with questions and you got back to me and took care of it and was very much appreciative, and, just thank you and your staff for guiding us through this pandemic time, and it is greatly appreciated. So again, as Chris said, enjoy the summer.
Thank you.
Ms. Amaral?
Chris took my sentiment, and hoping that you get some time or take some time to care for yourself. You talk about, taking the punches. I felt some of that, and what I felt, I'm sure, was not anything compared to what other folks felt in terms of those punches. I look forward to a time, we were talking on the way in, that we can collaborate in other ways. I mean, over the years with our flu clinics, thanks to, your collaboration with the CPAC and the resource fair, I look forward to those days and getting, scheduling something to work with you again, but after you take some time to really take care of yourself. So thank you and your staff.
Thank you.
And I'll, echo what my colleagues have said, but, I'll get back also what Dr. Gifford said, is that we could point to you, which we were so incredibly grateful for, because I know there was a critical meeting when we were talking about, what our timeline was, where we were going to, close the schools again right before the holidays, and we were receiving a lot of slack, and, what's science-based, and I think, bringing you in, and you could see the conversation that happened, whether on, social media or just, from parents who were chiming in, that when you spoke, they really understood. It drove it home. It really, made our policies feel that they weren't just simply, they were something that was really for the best for the community and for everyone that was involved. And it was really important to have your voice there and invaluable. So I really, I think we all took a lot from that. And, I've learned a lot, through just listening to you about, where we stood as a community. So in so many ways, I really appreciate your help. And I know we'll probably be leaning again as we consider where we are in the fall. And like you said, looking at the status of our youngest learners and, where they are with the vaccine and, a lot of unknowns still. But we, I hope you take this time when things are slow to get out on the water, enjoy your summer.
So I'll reiterate my colleagues' thanks. I'll also say to our viewers, right, Mr. Michaud's vacation depends on you getting vaccinated. Seriously, people, get vaccinated, right? We have a lot of questions. We're in a good place right now, and I think we're all on the same page that we want to stay in a good place through the summer and into the fall,
Right.
Particularly as new variants emerge and, new information comes out about these variants. I can't stress enough, right? Get vaccinated, right? So we can all have a more normal summer and fall. And I will also just say, we look forward to continuing to work with you. I know the question that we received today was about what we're going to do for the fall, with respect to masks and distance. And we don't know yet because we're going to follow the science and we're going to do that in partnership with you. And we appreciate your guidance in helping us make those decisions as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming, and we didn't want to put you on the spot, but we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank
Now
you.
go
Thank
enjoy
you,
your
Chris.
evening.
Yes. Okay, so next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from June 7th. I will entertain a motion to approve the regular session minutes of June 7th.
So move.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Amaral. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So that motion carries unanimously. Next, I will entertain a motion to approve the executive session minutes from June 7th.
So moved, Madam Chair, with the stipulation that they be held until the matter for which they were intended is complete.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Wade. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so next on our agenda, we have old business, the superintendent's evaluation presentation. We don't have to do the presentation
Right,
again.
did
You
that
already
last
did that
week.
whole part of it. So now is a time for the committee to offer any comments that they would like, any suggestions, recommendations, anything. So I will open it up to my colleagues.
Nothing.
No comments?
No, very well presented. Personal opinion.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I will say, I think, in behalf of the committee, I think we appreciate all the work that you and your staff did over the last year and a half. It's been a very difficult year. We recognize that. Not easy decisions, not things that I think any of us were prepared for. Airflows, filters, all this sort of stuff. And so we do appreciate your leadership during what is hopefully the most difficult year of
to
our
be
careers.
again.
Let's hope we don't top
Yeah.
that one, right?
All right.
Without a doubt.
Any other comments, questions, Ms.
I
Amaral?
just want to say thank you for, I feel, after all the work that you put into kind of getting this all to us, I feel sort of bad that we're just, it's really good. But it is, there is a lot of
lot
work
to
that you
it.
put
Yeah,
into
no.
bringing us the work that you've led and that you've done. And it's quite detailed and
Sometimes
comprehensive.
it's easy to forget what we've done.
Right.
The non-COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I will also say, I think it's good too that I didn't find anything to be a surprise, right?
Right.
Because you are keeping us
Exactly.
informed
Yep.
all the time. It's a compilation of things that we have learned or that we know over the year. And so I think that's also a positive sign, right? If this was all like stuff we hadn't heard before, that might be problematic. But
Good.
I think we're kept up to speed on the good things that are happening in the district, and we appreciate
good.
that.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Oliver.
I think to your point, Shannon, is that just what you said, is that because Dr. Gifford has kept us updated in, the central office, is that nothing came as a surprise, and there's no questions and there's no concerns
Right.
with what was presented.
Well, thank you.
So, and to.
It's almost a
to-
summary.
Well, that's just it, and if you were
Yeah.
to, there's a lot, you could sit here for hours if we really wanted to hash it out
Yeah.
and talk about everything,
Yeah.
but there's no need.
It's no use. Thank
And I think
you.
we have in many ways. I mean, again, because this is not a surprise to us, so, we have talked about
Yeah,
much of
good.
this, so we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, so if that's all, we'll move on to new business. Mr. Kiley, I'm going to turn it over to you for our discussion of the proposed food service position.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. So you have a job description for a school nutrition operations supervisor. So Jean Sheridan, our director of school nutrition, has been talking to me for a couple of years about addressing a need with our food service program. This position would provide day-to-day supervision of the cafeteria operation under her guidance. Jean, I will say, has done an amazing job in her tenure here. Really has taken our program to the next level. Changed so much of what we do, how we do it, and really just improved the quality of food for kids. And I really can't say enough about that. During the pandemic, she, focused on addressing the food insecurity needs in the community, and stepped right up to run what I think was an exemplary effort, to provide food for families. And we're continuing to do that. So, we're continuing July 9th, there'll be a pickup at Dartmouth Middle School time, and so we'll continue that throughout the summer. Jean works part-time here. So she also works in the Acushnet Public Schools. She also has expressed, so her working part-time does leave some need for more day-to-day supervision here. Besides that, Jean is not going to work indefinitely in this. She is outstanding at what she does. She loves what she does. But, at some point over the next few years, and we really wanted to think about succession and how we were going to maintain the high level of service that we're currently providing. The financial condition of the program is an important consideration, why I'm bringing this forward. So throughout the pandemic, while it's been a horrible time, let's face it, from a financial perspective, from food service, we have been eligible for all students to receive free lunch, all last year, all next year, and as a result, the program is very healthy. We actually have to spend money on something. Obviously, quality of food is one important thing that we will be spending money on, but we really need to look at how best to run the operation as part of that. So this position would focus on that and provide us I think, a strong foundation for what's to come with the program in the future. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. It's a school year position plus some extra days, about 35 hours a week. Haven't set an exact salary. Think that is more dependent upon the qualifications of the individuals applying for the position.
Questions? Ms. Waite?
I just want to say, I think this is a great position. I really, would hope that my colleagues come forward and support this. I think that, there have been a number of parents who, have really wanted to see nutrition become more part of the conversation. And I think there have been some exciting things that we've seen even happening with the middle school and their garden. And I think, and I read here, increasing participation, the conversation around nutrition, if we look, we know obesity is such an issue. We know nutrition is such an issue. And I'd love to see it, if there's room within this position to really, talk about the educational piece, and again, as I saw that, participation, that really, made that light go on for me, because I think, you have people who are willing, certainly from the staff, who are being creative, kind of gardening, and I love seeing, working with local farms. Like, again, I think all of those are really important, to educate our students who want that and they're interested in food. And they say, like, even the students who are 18 to 24 are, the young adults are much more progressive when it comes to food than they're than older. So it's just I think it's great. So I really think that there's a lot of interest in the community for this. I think, like you said, we've done, I cannot say enough for what she's done over this, to provide food for our students and make sure that those kids had meals, and including the virtual learners and everything else. I think it was just outstanding through all the flux that happened, in the school year. But I'd love to see this person come in. So thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Mr. Nunes?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just to kind of follow a little bit of what Mary talked about, but, thanks to Jean for, the great job she did with the pandemic, with the meals during, the time we came out of school last March, all through the summer. I mean, there was a constant line from that 11 to 1 at the Quinn School, picking the meals up, and also to the, the gentlemen that were, handing them out to the consumers as they went by. Of course, they got to know everybody, and, the little jokes that they would serve. I stopped by a couple of times, so, just, what the little things that they did, just have extended it out that far. So very much in support of this.
Mr. Oliver?
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Yeah, let's face this, food insecurity is a real thing, especially as we found out during the past year. And I think the Dartmouth Public Schools, under the direction of Ms. Sheridan, did a wonderful job. I had the opportunity a couple of times to help out, handing out boxes and helping out there. And you could just see, how successful it was, especially with a lot of the families. With that said, I am in full support of this position. I think that the food service program has come a long ways under Jean's direction. I think it was an area that needed to be improved upon, and I think she's done just that. And I do think that a lot of what she's doing and what this person will continue to do will go a long ways and help to grow the program even more. But we certainly have a foundation right now, and I think we can only improve from there. For the viewers at home, I would just say that this position is self-sustaining, self-funded through the food service program, the nutrition program. So this would come at no cost to our local budget here in the town of Dartmouth. I do have one question for you, Mr. Kiley, in regards to, we have money that needs to be spent. I think it was last year. I didn't have the opportunity to review the capital improvement plan this evening for tonight's meeting, but I know that there were a number of different items at one point under the CIP plan. So I'm just wondering if we're going to be tackling some of those larger capital expenses with some of the money that we have.
Yeah, we will be. You might be referring to the grease trap issue. I don't know. That
I'm
came
not
up
sure.
at town meeting. We
did
just
come up
joked about it
right.
before the meeting. I mean, there are other things, and we really will be focusing on the grease trap issue with capital improvements money. So not so much with with operational money.
I was
But-
referring to, and it might have been on something else that I saw, whether it was walk-in coolers, different serving line items and different things like that.
Definitely improving our physical structure in the cafeterias is a goal for us. I've got to say, we have been fortunate that the town has supported us with capital improvement monies through the years to improve things, and ovens and coolers and so forth, although we had a cooler go down today in the heat. But yes, we'll be continuing to utilize funding to support those. I've got to say, one thing I didn't mention that Jean has really focused on has been to seek out grant funding opportunities. This position will only give her more time to be able to do that type of work. What Jean likes to joke and says that she provides the sizzle, and it's so true. Like the things, if we can give her more time to do the things that she's capable of and more support on the administrative day-to-day level, then she's going to provide some great opportunities for us. But yeah, we'll be
great.
continuing to improve the facility too.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Thank you.
So I have a couple of just sort of longer term, sort of what's the long term plan, right? I'd like to be optimistic and think that the federal government will continue to provide free lunches for our kids. I mean, it is the right thing to do so the kids are not food insecure. But what happens if that does not continue? Where does that put us? Is my first question. I'll let you take a stab at that one first.
Yeah, so, I think that we need to think about, over the next couple of years, I think we'll be secure with our operation as it currently stands. I do think that there will be a point where the feds say, okay, we can't fund that anymore. And then we'll need to go back to the old model of charging kids for lunch. And, but, at that point, we'll also have some staffing considerations. Ms. Sheridan likely, at some point, like I said, in the next 3 years, will probably retire. Although I'd be happy to have her stay for longer. And, this will give us an opportunity for, hopefully, to provide some continuity if we hire the right person who can really, work with Jean and develop, advance the program. Hopefully that person can stay on, maybe take more of a role. We'll have to,
Yeah,
it's
and so
gonna be
that was
tricky.
that was sort of my next question is the plan sort of while we have this window of to hopefully maybe position this person through some training and professional development to maybe be ready to take over that role, and then maybe instead of having a half-time director of school nutrition and a full-time, you might do it a full-time director of school nutrition and then someone doing some part-time sort of business administrative support maybe?
It's definitely, a major part of this proposal is succession planning, for sure.
Okay.
So besides the fact that it's going to be awesome and, provide so many opportunities for the program, I think succession planning is important.
Yeah, and I also think I'm a huge proponent of providing professional development to our own employees and giving them opportunities to advance. So if we can bring someone in and provide them with a career path up, for a good person, I think that would be great. So I'm in support of that as well. Are there other questions, Mr. Nunes?
Yeah, just one quick question is, she gonna be working out of central office or?
Likely in the, no, not central office.
Yeah.
No. Jean doesn't spend very much time in central office either, and I really don't want someone, running the food service operation in a building that doesn't operate food service.
Right.
I think it just makes sense to be close to the action, so.
Okay, no, that's fine. I was just curious. Thank you.
Contrary to popular opinion, cooking does go on in our cafeteria.
Yes,
Right. We do cook, so it is good to be around for that
my
sort
good
of
Lord.
stuff, right? All right, so do you need a motion on this, or?
it's creation of a new position, so
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
seek your
So I'll entertain a
support.
motion to create the new position of the school nutrition operations supervisor.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Oliver, a second by Ms. Amaral. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next item on our agenda is proposed school committee meeting dates for July through September. And did I not get that attachment.
It is on there, I saw
It is in there, and I just don't have it.
No,
All right,
mine
thank you, Dr. Gifford. I didn't download it.
Yep.
So the proposal would be Monday, July 12th, and Monday, August 23rd for our two summer meetings. My phone is like calling things as I'm trying to look at my calendar. Sorry, I didn't
too,
want to
that's
call
okay.
911 in the middle of our meeting here. Those would be 5 p.m. starts. Is that okay? I know,
I think I'm the only one that it's not okay for, Madam Chair, but
could you do 5:30?
I mean, I can make it work. I can just today.
Okay.
was,
So
yeah.
the 12th, so that would be July 12th and August 23rd at 5 o'clock. Everyone's good with
I
those?
actually cannot make the July 12th. That is, I'll be in DC area, but
Okay.
I'll be the only, if I'm the only one, you know.
What about the 19th? Does
can
that
make
work
that.
for everyone?
The 19th works for me.
If that doesn't work for you, then we can just do the 12th. It
12th,
doesn't work
that's
for
okay,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I would prefer
Wanna be
it
on a
not be
vote.
on the 12th, July 12th.
You would prefer not the 12th? Okay. So the 12th doesn't work and the 19th doesn't work for you, but I do think we do need a meeting in,
Well, we've got it. Let me back up for a second here.
we're good?
Because somewhere, this is to Mr. Kiley. Somewhere down the line, they're gonna, with the fiscal year ending, we've got
Yeah.
a July 15th. Warrants to be sent into the town. Have you gotten a date yet from?
My plan would have been to likely have them ready for you for the 12th, but that's, I mean, I can get signatures from folks. If that doesn't work, that's fine. We can, if people can just stop by and sign. 3 people.
I mean,
I can't do we can't do the 12th. I can't do the 13th because that's our diversity committee meeting. Could anybody do the 14th?
I'm just away that week. That's all, you know, down in, so.
Yeah,
You
that was
too.
the week that I'm looking to go
So
away
you two
to.
are
And I'm
both
planning the
away
next
that
week.
whole week, and you're away the week after. I don't think we want to meet before the 12th. I don't think we need to.
Before the diversity committee? That's at like 6:30, right? Or something. I'm just,
We could, no, but those two are away the whole week. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
just sort of.
gotcha.
So you're away the whole week of the 19th, Dr. Gifford?
Yes, I'm hoping, as long as my boat runs.
We're not gonna make you go away. I mean, I suppose we could do it the 26th.
That's.
It's kind of late, but if anything comes
It'll be a
up,
month from now, so,
does that work for everyone? July
July
26th?
26th.
That works.
yeah.
Okay.
Have to have a quick meeting. We could do it by Zoom if we had to.
Yeah, if somebody has to,
something
another
come
option,
up.
if they're
too.
away, I guess will work.
What's that?
26?
26th.
This is tricky.
Yes. No.
No.
So we're gonna have to do, is he gone, is the guy that runs the show gone that whole week or just that day?
Oh.
All right, this is,
Yeah, it's tricky.
is
What if,
so
many-
again, is
let's
Mr.
see.
Parati gone that whole week of the 26th or just that Monday?
He's gone
Whole
the
week.
The whole week? All
I
right,
I
go ahead, Mr. Nunes.
I think what we've got to look at here, okay, is somewhere down the line, scheduling a meeting. Mr. Parati's not here, then we go back, if we're gonna go the week of the 26th, and we go back to, you know, the old-fashioned way, where someone from DCTV is here and they tape it to put it on, we just won't be live.
Yeah,
Yeah, or we can do it the old-fashioned way and be here in person and have DCTV tape it.
We're so flexible.
yeah, why don't
We don't need to do a Zoom meeting. My personal opinion is if we don't need to do Zoom,
I will say we can do the 26th. We can see if DC TV can do it. I do want to continue live streaming, right? If you look, right, we've got like maybe only 7 people watching now, but 150 to 200 people are accessing those videos, when they're posted. And so I do like the ability to
I
tape
do-
them. That having been said, for the 26th, we can see if DC TV can do that one. And that one, we just won't be able to
Yeah,
live
I-
stream. That's fine.
there has to be exceptions to the things that we do sometimes.
So the 26th, does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll do Monday, July 26th at 5 PM.
Okay.
And then Monday, August 23rd at 5 PM. All right, hearing no objections, then we move back into our regular time, 6:30, where we would do September 13th. We've got September 13th and September 27th. I'm thrown off by the public hearing on the budget. We're already doing a public hearing on the budget in September? Okay, I didn't think so.
I think that just got copied
Just
over.
got
Oh, that
copied
probably
over.
a- probably a
That's
copy and
fine. I was
paste.
like,
Yeah.
whoa,
My
we're really
goodness.
ahead of the schedule this year.
Right on it.
So we would have Monday, September 13th and Monday, September 27th.
Would the 13th be with like meet the new teachers?
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing I might say is, I feel like potentially we should maybe save one more Monday in August, just in case. I hope that this is a normal school year, but if, DESI comes out on August 1st and says, and you gotta have 6 feet of guidance and double masks, and then we're back where we were, like, I feel like maybe we can just hold, like, the 9th, just in case, no?
I'll be away, but you guys can.
No. I'm gone I'm just not sure which week I'm gone.
Okay, well, let's
The
not,
9th or the
we won't hold a date, but what I will say is, let's just be prepared to potentially have another meeting in August, because conditions may call for it. We may need to meet before the 23rd. And if that happens, we'll just figure out a date and
Okay.
time that works for everyone.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
so are we good on that?
Yep.
Okay, so next we have authorization to release the executive session minutes from 2015 and 2016. Dr. Gifford, I assume you reviewed those?
I did.
Minutes, and you sent those all to us for
Yep.
review. Do we want to take those separately? Do we want to do it all in one motion? So I will entertain a motion to authorize the release of the executive session minutes from 2015 and 2016 as submitted to us by Dr. Giffords. That would be February 10th, 2015, March 30th, 2015, April 13th, 2015, May 11th, 2015, June 8th, 2015, December 14th, 2015, March 28th, 2016, 2016, August 22nd, 2016, November 7th, 2016, and December 16th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Mr. Oliver. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so that motion carries unanimously. And if I said any of those dates wrong, Ms. Genther, just take them from the minutes. I was or the agenda, those are the dates. All right, so next on our agenda is the superintendent's updates.
Right, thank you. I have a couple of things to update you on. We had the sports camp has started, and Mr. Kiley was saying we've had about double the registrations this year, so it's been already busy. I think people just want their kiddos to get busy and do something, so that's good. Credit recovery is also running with ESY soon to start after the 4th. Also, I wanted to mention, other than, of course, the food boxes, to remind people, July 9th, 3 to 5, to come by and pick up their food boxes. And we also have been awarded 2 grants. Tracy Oliveira wrote both of these grants for us. And one you've probably heard us talk about, or you've heard it from Desi, was the Summer Acceleration Academies grant, which will be, it was really a lot of money. It was $91,000. And what Desi wants to see happen is towards the end of the summer in August to run math and literacy camps, really pinpoint some kids, target kids that really need the help closing some of those gaps. And we have been able to appoint 2 kind of coordinators, what we call, and we'll plan and supervise and oversee that those camps. So $91,000. So that's in the works. The other grant was for $11,000, and that's an accelerating math grant. And basically what that will do is help us pay for the math supplemental program that we already use, so that was good. And some of this has some PD in it as well, so we'll take everything we can get at this point. But, so those were really, really very helpful for us. And the other thing I just wanted to alert you to, also to, with the various grants with ESSA money coming, we've been in conversation about how best to support students. We could use for the funds for the impact of COVID. What's the impact of COVID, and how can we help kids move forward over the summer as well as starting next year? So we have chosen, I think we let you know, the social worker position we added this year, for next year, et cetera. So we've added a few things that we can pay for with the grant, knowing it'll be like a 3-year or so. So we know at least we have some longevity for it. But also we decided, with Mr. Galashaw's suggestion and Ms. Oliveira as well, we've been for a long time wanting to really find a way to embed our our digital computer, the technology standards within all of our curricular areas. And this year you saw the impact of what we needed with technology. So what we're planning on doing is, we've talked to our ITS teachers, and it's going to be a 1-year movement, a reassignment, if you will, of one of those teachers to oversee this curricular development, embedding the technology standards into the curriculum across all of the schools to get everybody kind of on the same playing field. So our plan is to use one of our ITS teachers, as I said, just a movement for the year. Then we're hoping that this will all be a 1-year thing, hoping one of our classroom teachers will want to take that ITS spot in that school, in the school that person is letting go. We wanted to do it this way because to try to get a long-term sub for the year out of the blue that knows what's happening within our technology and our ITS system is kind of impossible. But we felt it would be better to, let's say it's a classroom teacher that says, I want to do the ITS. I've been working with computers, I've been working with the technology for the year. I'm going to take that 1-year position, and then we would have a long-term sub for the classroom position. So that's kind of what we're going. So we'll have any questions that anybody has.
Dr. Gifford, do you have a sense of where that person would come from, which school you're thinking of?
The first position.
First position, so then, well, it would be, and then necessarily this other long-term sub would be
We
coming from
actually have one person that asked, I don't want to say it out, I'm not sure that person's been notified yet, or the
Okay.
other, so I will let you know.
We'll keep it, okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just, again, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. If the person hasn't been notified, that's all.
No, got that.
But
yeah, yeah.
we
Okay.
did put it out to them, and one person came forward, so.
Okay.
And then, as I said, we're posting now for someone only in-house.
Right.
That would then take that person's position. I'll just use a name for now. Let's say Jen Thomas at the high school was the person that's going to do that.
Okay.
Then throughout
Someone
the
else.
district, only in-house, we didn't post it out, would take that 1-year position, working alongside the ITS like they do now, and
Okay.
then post for a long-term sub.
Right, thanks.
But as soon as I know if the person has been notified, I'll let you know.
Questions? Mr. Oliver?
So at the end of the day, Dr. Gifford, what is I understand embedding the technology, which I'm 100%
Yeah.
on board with.
Yep.
I think that's a great opportunity. What's the outcome as far as, will it be on paper? What are we looking at? Like, what do you envision at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, what I would envision would be, you know how we use our Rubicon Atlas management system right now, the curriculum management system, to be able to have those standards within those units of study, if you will, and the resources more in depth. I mean, I guess a deeper study of the technology standards being embedded into the curriculum areas. And this year was a wonderful first step in that direction, but it's just something we've been trying to get at, even with the ITS teachers that we've had, with trying to have Mr. Galashaw kind of oversee that work. And it's just a lot of work for the group, as they're also trying to guide and lead professional development and work in the classrooms. So we thought with the advantage of having the funds come up, it's a great time to be able to support that work. And we certainly see that it was an impact of COVID. So
Okay.
that's what we're thinking.
So do you think this person would then, they'd be doing less of in the classroom with the kids, but they'd still probably continue to do the curriculum, but also the
Yes,
PD?
absolutely.
Because doing that curriculum really
Absolutely.
does require to
Yeah,
continue
yep,
to
yep,
do that PD?
yep.
Okay.
And I would see the person even, let's say they embedded some, in an elementary unit of study, if you will, because we also have the CIA teams working, the
Right,
L3s.
right.
They kind of come together to be able to go into the classroom
Right.
and kind of role model that, so.
Okay.
That's
So-
what we say.
So just an additional question, Dr. Gifford. So the teacher that comes in as that 1 year sub, you know, who will then replace that teacher in the classroom? You'll have another sub that will then
That would
come
be a
in?
long-term sub
That would
position
be
we
a
would
long-term-
post, and we would put that out, obviously
Okay.
out. Yep.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Sometimes a long-term sub, we've been fortunate where we've had folks come in for whether a medical leave, maternity leave, or what it might be, and they've worked out so well that they end up stepping right into a position
Right, right, right.
oftentimes, so we'll see.
Thank you. Any other
Oh,
questions?
that's all. Oh, no, yeah, I gave you everything. Okay, that's what I had tonight.
All right, so next for me is the report of the chair. Just a couple things I want to ask you all, remind you of. One, in normal times, I was asking Dr. Gifford beforehand, we've had a working session to talk about the agenda and sort of scope out the year. Would you guys like to do that sometime, maybe around August, September, try to do that again? I thought that was working sessions were useful. I don't think we did it last year.
No,
'cause
I
we were
wasn't
saying
ever
we
part
were
of
all
one,
trying to keep
so-
our nose above the water, so I think that would be useful if we can maybe try to schedule that at the
agree.
beginning of the year.
No, that would be good.
Okay, the other one, I had asked Kate to go through, because she asked me, what's on the agenda? I feel like I'm missing something. And we had said we were gonna take up the parking fees issue, but I think, does it make sense for us to wait until the fall on that, or do you want to try to take that up before the school year starts? I mean, there's some advantages both ways. Like, one, if we do it in the fall, we can talk to the kids. If we do it in the summer, there's some possibility to make some changes
Well, can I
there.
ask that? Yeah, I guess that's
Hold
my.
on.
oh,
Let
sorry.
me, everyone's got their hands up, so let's wait our turn. So, Mr. Nunes, go ahead.
It's a double-edged sword, I think.
Yes.
If we talk about it now, type of deal, you're right, we don't have the students' input, that type of deal. If we wait till the fall, we get the student input, et cetera, and we all of a sudden decide, well, instead of this fee, you've already got the parking fees.
The cat's out of the bag, to quote what
We keep doing, yeah.
No,
showed.
but if you go back and you do it in we talk about it in September or October, these students have already paid for their
Yes.
parking passes.
Yes.
Now, what are we gonna do, cut 300 checks back to students? Mr. Kiley?
Well, I think anytime before the budget process would be a good time to do it. I'm not sure that change mid-cycle for this upcoming year is a smart thing to do. Given that it will likely have an impact, if we were to reduce parking fees, it'll likely have an impact on our operating budget, which I didn't plan for. So, you know, I really think ideally, you'd be thinking about any reduction a year out. That would be my recommendation. That's the safest thing to do. We really, you know, if we get away with no more snow, maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing, and maybe we could do it mid-year, but it is a little more risky to do it that way.
Miss Wade.
I would just say that, you know, as far as the student view, I think we've had the student view pretty clearly articulated to us. I mean, I certainly would like to hear, you know, again, it's always great to hear more, but you know, we had the representative of the senior class giving us a pretty clear, you know, idea of what, you know, where they were coming from, and I know that he had formed the committee, so I feel pretty comfortable having a sense of what you know, where the students were coming from, I guess.
I guess I would disagree with that. I think the students have had a conversation amongst themselves about the
Okay.
parking fee. They haven't had it where we've talked about what the fees are used for, how it works, what impact that would have on the budget, what impact that would have. And there may also be difference of opinion among the students, and so I would like for them to have the opportunity to do more of perhaps a public comment if it were open. So I'm somewhat Well, he was the class president, and I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
he's
no,
not,
no.
hasn't been elected. I am reluctant to rely on just sort of one person as representing the views of the student body. So I think my inclination would be to wait. Do we think, Mr. Oliver?
I would agree that we should probably wait. One of the things I was going to ask Mr. Kiley was, I'm not sure, one of the things that I'd like to consider when we're having the discussion is data. Looking at data, I don't know if you have that data already as far as, any other business directors or assistant superintendents off the MASBO listserv as far as parking fees, but I'd be interested to see what other districts are doing, as well as prices of what other districts are charging for their high school students.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've looked at this several times. I brought forward a recommendation to the school committee quite a few years ago now to reduce it from $100 a year to $60 a year. And, that was approved by the school committee. I have looked at it since then, several times, and, I don't have current data. It's probably a few years old on other districts and what they've been doing, but I can certainly seek that out. That's not a problem.
I mean, part of the reason why I asked is because I did say to Mr. Kiley, can you have that data for us? So this is a question of when Mr. Kiley needs to be prepared for that. So maybe then we'll wait until the fall on that one. Okay. The only other thing that I had to add is I just want to report back out to the full committee that the diversity committee met, I guess it was last week. We had two presentations. One was from Kempton Campbell, who is a DHS graduate, now at UConn. He did a semester-long internship where he looked at some of the issues around Native mascots. And he had some really interesting information in his presentation. He had gone to Southworth and pulled all of the old yearbooks to look for when the Native mascot was introduced, how that was presented. And then we also had a presentation from Dr. Laurel Davis Delano, who researches issues around Native American mascots and has published some scholarly journal articles about helping educators make decisions on these issues. That video or that meeting is available on the DHS YouTube channel. I highly recommend that the committee, take a look at it, this committee, because as I noted to the diversity committee, they'll make a recommendation, but that recommendation will come to us. So I thought that was informative, and so I'd like to share that with you, but also to the general public, that information is available. And I'm going to work, Kempton shared the pictures in the slideshow, and we'll maybe figure out a way to make that available, not just to the committee, but to the public, so they can see those pictures, because I thought he did a nice job. The committee is meeting again on the 13th. And we'll continue to sort of talk about what our plans are on that, but I just wanted to keep you all in the loop on that. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I have one other thing before I hear if you guys have anything. Ms. Genther, has there been any public comment?
There has not.
Thank you. All right, so does anyone from the committee have anything they would like to add? Mr. Oliver?
I would just ask that maybe at the next meeting, we just talk, unless you want to do it tonight, around what the plan is for reopening meetings. And not just school committee, but I'm just curious, because I know the select board's still on Zoom.
Yeah, and I'd like to have that, just put that on the agenda so that people know that we're going to talk about it before we have. So I agree. I think we should post it on the agenda before we have that discussion.
That's fine.
But if we will make sure to put that on the next agenda to have the discussion about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
I feel pretty strongly I'd like to open it back up, but I also think it's been really nice to stream. I'm sure you've all run into people say, oh, I watch all the meetings. And I'm like, really? You do? Right? I think it's made it accessible to have it available on demand wherever on YouTube. So I think that's been great, but that doesn't mean we can't allow people to come here. Other things to add, Mr. Nunes?
When I had a brief discussion at middle school graduation, which by the way was really nice. Nice job over 2 nights. It was perfect. But any luck with the voc minutes?
I have not gotten to that, and in fact, I have a list of things now that I need to do. I have not been able, it's been crazy at work to contact them, but I will do that. Dr. Marlin, I know, is retiring from DCTV, and we should say a big, congratulations to her. I assume, hopefully, we just reappointed her so that she's gonna stay in that role, but I will follow up on that. I'm sorry, Mr. Nunes.
That's okay, no problem. No, I'm not, just,
Yes.
somewhere down the line.
Yeah,
It
and
is
I think,
ni- It is nice that, once in a while, I do happen to catch him on Channel 9, and that you can't hear a whole heck of a lot, I'll
Right.
be honest with you. Because the
So-
audio was not that good, but
And I think we've also talked about having our representatives come give reports, so that might be something that we
Right.
do in the fall, invite them to give a report. Mr. Oliver?
So I actually had the opportunity, I had a sit down with Mr. Watson. I took him up on his invitation, I went over to Voc, and I met with him. And that's one of the things that I brought up, that I want to see more communication from New Bedford Voc, as well as our representatives with the Dartmouth School Committee. So I asked, if he would be willing to come out once he's the superintendent officially as of July 1st, to come out to one of our school committee meetings with our reps, with the Dartmouth school, the town of Dartmouth Voc Tech school committee members, and do a little presentation. But he's all for increasing communication, and I did bring up the minutes as well. That.
Thank you, and I will follow up on that, I think, because the
Yeah, no,
more
that's-
he hears that from all of us, the better. But yeah, maybe that would be good. I will follow up then after your meeting. Thank you for that, Mr. Oliver, and ask about the minutes, and then follow up and share with him our meeting dates for the fall, and now that we've scheduled them out, and see when he might be available to join us. Other additions, comments? All right, so hearing none, our next meeting is, we decided Monday, July 26th. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Wade. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Have a good evening, everyone.